Am I the a-hole for asking my pregnant wife to leave our home after she faked breaking up with me just to get a reaction out of me? I think I was too harsh. So, my wife and I have been together for 3 years, and she's currently pregnant with our first child. For some context, I'm a surgeon and have always had long hours. This has been a known part of my life since before we started dating. Recently, she's been asking me to leave my job to do something with better hours, like private practice, because she says we need more time together. While I totally understand her perspective, being a surgeon is what I've worked my entire life for, and my long hours are just part of that. I can't just flip a switch and move into clinic work. It's not that simple, and it's not what I trained for. Anyway, the other day, out of the blue, she said she doesn't want to be in this marriage anymore because of the issues we've been having. Mainly, she wants more of my time, which, as I said, isn't possible given my career. When she told me she wanted out, I just said, okay. I told her that I appreciate her being honest, and that if she truly feels like she can't be happy with me, I understand. I'm a secure person, and if she's not happy, I'm not going to convince her to stay with me just for the sake of staying together. She seemed surprised by my reaction and asked why I wasn't fighting for our marriage or trying to fix things. I told her that if I did, it would feel like I was begging her to stay, and that's not what I want. If she's unhappy, she doesn't owe me a reason to leave. The point is that she doesn't want to be with me, and that's enough. This seemed to frustrate her even more. She said something like, "So you'd rather walk away than work on the reasons why I'm unhappy?" I told her it's not that. I would have been happy to have a conversation about making things work realistically, but she already decided she wanted out. And I firmly told her that I wasn't going to be in a situation with my partner where they expected me to beg or grovel for their love. I respect myself too much for that. She started crying and confessed that this whole thing wasn't real, that she was just testing me. She wanted to see how I would react because she'd been feeling neglected with me not being around enough, and she thought that breaking up would force me to address that. By that point, I'd already changed my mind. I told her I couldn't be with someone who would casually say they wanted to end our marriage just to get a reaction out of me. If she's willing to throw around the idea of breaking up so easily to make a point, that's a huge red flag for me. I told her I deserve a relationship built on mutual respect and commitment, and this isn't it. Now I've decided to leave. I've asked her to move to her parents' place since the house is mine. She's pregnant, and I know this complicates things, but after what she did, I don't feel like this marriage is salvageable. Am I the a-hole? Next story. My wife has no idea. I handle all of the financial decisions in our family. So much so that my wife has never checked her retirement accounts, bank accounts, etc. I don't even think she remembers the passwords, although she has them. She just doesn't care and hates to talk about budgets and money. Now, I have access and she gave me authorization to trade/manage all of our retirements. I've done really well in the market for the last 5 years. Well, enough that we could potentially retire early and the kids are covered for school, weddings, etc. But I'm not bringing it up. I'm going to pretend we're still struggling and continue to stay the course with savings. She'll appreciate it 20 years from now, when otherwise she'd feel comfortable digging into our savings. She has complete access to see any of it at any time. Still, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Okay. So yes, I have brought up retirement, investments, and budgets all the time. She's just made it very clear to me that she does not care, and that I'm in charge of that. And also, yes, we've done well enough to diversify and manage risk, albeit an upmarket and everyone in the market is doing better. I get it. I'm not humble bragging that I'm a market guru by any stretch. Just got lucky. Edit 2. So all of the back and forth scenarios and ideas ITT are what prompted me to ask in the first place. The same things were going through my head. I guess I'm just frustrated by having been stonewalled in the past and trying to be a team for finances instead of a one-man show. She didn't want to hear it, so we just didn't talk about it. She got home from work tonight, and the Reddit hive mind has spoken. I called her over and said, "Hey, come here for a minute." She walked over, saw the finance website and said, "Ugh, do I have to?" I showed her the largest of the accounts and said, "This is where we are. We're going to be okay if we can maintain what we're doing. Just wanted to show you." She said, "Okay." Then went to change from work. Yep. Massive no reaction. So, I don't know how to draw the stick figure person shrugging the shoulders, but that's where it ended up. Edit 3, because apparently, this post is still going. After reading all this and getting the wife's anticlimactic reaction, I've decided we just have different ideas about money. I thought this through last night. My epiphany is that I'm the one who suffered financial trauma as a kid, having to get a job in JR High to help pay bills, not being able to afford new clothes, only putting $5 in gas in the car because that's all we had. Basically, parents who made horrible decisions. My wife came from a more middle-class family. To me, it made me hyper-aware of my finances and how it affects everything and everyone. My siblings act the same. To her, stability is all she's known. I just need to adjust my sense of reality to not be neurotic about it. That's it. You fixed it, Reddit. So cathartic. Next story. Am I the a-hole for taking my sister's phone away after she called me a pedo at her school? Advice needed. I, 27M, am the guardian of my younger sister, 13F, and I work for the USPS. Lately, I've been on a route that delivers mail to the local middle school and high school, and she happens to go there. Today, I was at the middle school walking to the main office with the mail, and then suddenly I heard, "Back away, pedo." And I got really started and looked, and it was my younger sister with her friend. She was laughing and I told her that wasn't funny, and a nearby teacher came over firmly asking what was happening. I frantically explained I was delivering the mail, and she was my younger sister who was making a tasteless joke, and my sister was just standing there enjoying the situation. Fortunately, the teacher heard me and just told my sister and her friend to get back to class. Before she left, I said, "Hey," and she looked and I sternly said, "Give me your phone." She stopped for a moment and said, "What?" And I told her to give me her phone. She protested at first, but I persisted, and she gave me her phone and seemed really upset and annoyed as she walked away. I got home this afternoon and she was fucking pissed at me. Finally, I got to have a conversation with her about it, and I told her her behavior was completely inappropriate and unacceptable because she very easily could have made me lose my job, which is putting the food in our mouths and clothes on our backs and roof above our heads, just because she wanted a quick giggle. She continued to persist and pulled the, "Who do you think you are, my parent?" And I said, "I think I'm the person who pays for your cell phone bill and can easily cancel that phone plan anytime they want." She just walked away and I asked if she was going to eat dinner or if should I put it away, and she flipped me off as she went upstairs, to which I called out, "Yeah, okay. I'm keeping your phone another day." My sister is a big ray of hope in my sea of depression and stress, and the most important thing in my life, and my reason for trudging through this shit job, but holy shit, she can be such a brat sometimes. I'm wondering if maybe I overreacted by taking her phone. Maybe this is a completely separate thing, but sometimes it just feels so weird punishing her. Like I feel I'm the one who's supposed to help get her out of parental punishments rather than the one asserting them. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I was delivering mail at my sister's middle school and she saw me and jokingly said, "Back away, pedo," loud enough for a teacher to get involved. So I told my sister to give me her phone as a consequence, to which she did not respond favorably. Edit. Holy shit, you guys. I wasn't expecting 250 new comments when I opened Reddit after work. I'll look through what I can. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for taking my sister's phone away after she called me a pedo at her school? So, stuff has happened. First of all, quick update. I delivered mail at her school yesterday and saw the teacher who was involved in the situation and anxiously asked her if anything was gonna come of it. She said she admittedly did have a little talk with her after, and based on what my sister said and what she saw of the situation firsthand, she didn't see a need to report it. But she did say if my sister keeps saying stuff like that, she would feel compelled to report it. I almost dropped to my knees thanking her. So I've been thinking of the whole situation for the past 2 days and have been soul searching, or whatever, and decided I'd talk to her again. Now, I worked really late this afternoon and had a pretty draining, upsetting, and really hard/heavy day. I got home rather late, but my sister actually stayed up to wait for me and said she wanted to talk to me. She asked if we could sit down and then she told me she was really sorry for saying what she did and she didn't mean to embarrass me or get me fired or anything, and said she was out of line for flipping me off and told me she was sorry for that too. And then she told me she loved me. So I had some stuff I was trying to figure out how to articulate, but she initiated the conversation, so I just threw out what I had even though it was undercooked. I told her I appreciated the apology, but she clearly didn't understand how serious her joke was. I told her that little joke seriously could have ruined both of our lives, since if the wrong person heard, Child Protective Services would have put her into foster care and forced her to live in some rundown place with, potentially dangerous, people she's never met, and she would be doing so all alone without me, and I'd potentially be facing legal action and without a job, all because she wanted a little giggle. Then I said I really haven't appreciated her attitude as of late and the way she's been talking to me, and I said some of her behavior is completely inappropriate. I used the flipping me off and making that joke as examples, and while I always will be her big brother, I'm also her parent right now. So I told her I was going to limit her screen time/internet time, and to start I made the decision I was going to be giving her a flip phone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where all hell broke loose. She just blankly stared at me for a second and said, "What?" and asked if I was joking and why would I do that. I did my best to stay firm and just said, "I'm sorry, but that's what's gonna happen." She was begging me and profusely apologizing for her bad attitude, and she asked why I was giving such a harsh punishment for her stupid joke. She actually started crying and I felt horrible and wanted to tell her, "Actually, I'll think about it," and I felt like such an a-hole for not saying that. But then once she realized I was firm, she switched planes and went into offense mode. She started pinballing between points as to why I can't do this. I'm being controlling, malicious, self-centered, and others. And she also made some cheap and unsavory comments relating to the fact that I recently received an autism diagnosis and questioning the effect that has on my decision-making skills. I think that was the one time I lost my cool in that conversation because I just said ableism. Nice, and she said something ridiculous like, "Is it ableism if you're actually being stupid?" And I nodded, said a well-thought-out rebuttal. Some more shit was said, but it ended with her literally screaming and saying I was being unreasonable and she hates me before going upstairs. That went about as I expected. I'm just really happy she didn't tell me she wished I was dead again, or that she wished she didn't live with me. Pretty low bar, but I was anticipating that. I can live with "I hate you." I don't really have much else to say except God. I can't wait until I can go back to being her brother instead of her parent. So here's the update. One last thing. I just came off my 4th 14-hour day in a row, and I'm low-key fighting to stay awake as I write this, so apologies for any typos. Edit. So I delete the Reddit app before I clock on for work and download it again when I clock off, so I'm not on it at work, and again, I'm overwhelmed by the support. Thank you for the kind comments. F you for the mean ones.